Stand up. If you love the darts, stand up. If you love the darts, stand up.
Get up.
If you love the darts, stand up. It's the PHNX Rising Holiday Special. Let's go! Ho, ho, ho. Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast.
Merry
Holiday
Football Dartsmith.
Special. Ooh, Merry Dartsmith. Merry Dartmouth.
We're getting some darts theming
Ladies
in
and
this
gentlemen,
because it's good.
Boys and girls, trick-or-treaters, whatever it is.
You're a bit late if you
Appreciate
trick-or-treating at
everyone's
this point,
presence
mate.
here
But,
on the PHNX Rising podcast. It's the holiday special. It's the episode right before the holidays. All that fun stuff.
I feel like that. The second point was kind of made by the first.
Just want to make sure. It is the last one before the holidays. I am Max Simpson. I'm to my left. I'm joined by man, the myth, the legend, Owain, the Oracle Evans. And to my right, Rees, insert some dart name, Goodall. How we doing?
I'm just glad you didn't give me a hot dog themed nickname.
Oh, that's right.
Hot dog heaver.
We're taking a step in the right
on your
direction.
way in here, if we have the proper one. We got producer Noah behind the Mac today. No Kyle. Apparently, he's too good for tonight's episode. So we're graced with Mr. Noah's presence. But gents, holiday season, we got a lot of Rising stuff to get into. But I'll start with the serious question: how are we doing? And what's your favorite thing about the holidays?
Reese,
There's only one answer when we're talking about the
he knows
holidays.
what it's going to be.
It is the darts at ALLCITY. I mean, it's been on for the last week. I have done nothing else but watch the darts. There's nothing else to do at this time of year but watch the darts. Luke Littler is going to go all the way.
You think Luke's going all the way this year?
If he keeps up the form that he played in the last set, that he played over the weekend, where he averaged 141, I think he could play very,
See,
very
we're at a point now where like Google is doing me dirty because I just typed in World Darts Championship so that I could get up the bracket and like just remind myself who's where. And it's just slapping with the label, you visit often.
Sir, you have a problem here.
Hold on. This is the nerdiest show. This is a soccer-focused show that is now talking darts.
Okay, but
It's
we
the
need
best
to,
sport
you
in the
need
world,
to
best
understand the
sport.
fact that in
It's the global game. It's the world's game.
go across the other side of the Atlantic right now. And the broadcaster's entire, I'm not naming them because Max will be happy that I don't name them. You know, he's a stickler for that. Their entire winter campaign is based around Merry Football Dartsmas. Darts is one of the highest viewed.
I will say
On TV
this.
over there.
You've introduced me to it on TV here in the office, and the intros are spectacular. I will say that much for it. I will let you guys get on with the show. I just had to interrupt. Happy holidays to all of you.
Happy holidays.
There we go. That was Espo hopping in with a bit of
Mr. General Manager Greg.
Yeah.
Esposito. Oh boy. Well, we can save the dart
we got more
talk
dart talk later,
Yeah.
though. Don't you worry.
Yes,
We've got dart
of course
talk
we do.
coming
Well,
later.
let's get into some business similar to last week. Playing a little deja vu. Phoenix Rising has two signings, one new and one returning. And gentlemen, let's start once again with the returning. If last week provided perhaps I would say, a maybe mixed reaction with Remy Cabral, news that he is coming back. We have goalkeeper Patrick Rakovsky signed once again with the club. Gentlemen, instant thoughts. This was a man who, right over his 2 seasons with Phoenix Rising, 7 appearances between the sticks, 4 of them with the Open Cup across those 2 seasons. 31-year-old brings experience. What does this mean?
I'm unsure at this point, and I'll say why. My understanding was that he was looking for playing time. So that kind of leaves up to me 2 kind of scenarios that have come out of this. Then number 1 would be that he's getting playing time this coming year, or he's gone around the market. And to be fair, with whatever developments are going on around Nisa at the moment, and what could be or could not be going with that league, with the state of League One and changing teams in and out, and the Championship obviously as well, maybe he hasn't found another club that will guarantee him playing time in the US. But I'd imagine one of those two scenarios has come around, either that or maybe just people won't pay the wage that he's happy to, what he's looking for out of this. I have to be honest and say I'd be a little bit concerned if he's starting. You look at how he's played ever since when he played in that final for Orange County against Tampa Bay Rowdy. He was at ALLCITY Stadium. I was there. I actually have said, I think I've said it a few times now, that I regretted, because they came around with the championship final MVP voting a little bit too early. So earlier on in the game, I was, okay, Ronaldo Damas, the guy has scored 2 goals, you have to vote for him. If I'd have been able to vote at the final whistle, I think I'd have voted for Patrick Rakovsky because of the saves that he pulled off to realistically just keep them ahead in that game and stop Tampa Bay from feeling like they could get one foot back into the match. But ever since that point, he's been weak. I think we need to be honest with the realities of these last 2 years. We haven't seen his best. Now, you can say that's because he's not playing. That's fair enough. But you look at his last year at Orange County and the guy got dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, okay, it's someone who's had one particularly good year in USL Championship and then thereafter has struggled at times. Now, even beyond that, I mean, it's someone who... I mean, yeah, a lot of the time you see people, I know a lot of people got really excited after that Oakland match with him keeping a clean sheet, but he just wasn't tested in that match. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot to necessarily be hyped about. I'd say I understand the locker room piece and the fact that he can be a good guy in that sense. And obviously that was brought up when Rising went to the title in 23, but at the same time, when you're really hunting for a goalkeeper, you don't really have one right now because of Rocco Rios Novo being gone. You then bring back Patrick Rakovsky. If you're looking to him to start, I think there are better options. If you're looking at him as a backup, is he happy with that role? Is he going to be happy with that role and continue to be happy throughout the year? I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of my take on it overall.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for me, if you can rekindle that 2021 form where he was excellent, had a save percentage of around 76%, I think that would be a great signing, bring him back if he is going to be your number one. But my fear is that 2021 form is so far in the past now. I mean, you mentioned it was 7 appearances these last 2 seasons. 2022, his save percentage took a hit by 15 points, which led to him being dropped. And I don't fear that that Rising won't find a good goalkeeper. My fear is that if Rakovsky is the number one, it's that this form just is too far gone, that, he's up there and he's not old, but, he's crossed 30. It's almost like Max is going to be in a couple of years. So it's,
Max is getting old.
Max Grandpa
a couple
Simpson.
of years. I thought it's closer than a couple of years.
It's like
Keep going, continue.
It's like 6 months, but the form there is my biggest worry. But again, I like the locker room addition, but the form is my worry.
I like how Max just looked over at me then, like he's gonna have words with you after this.
You're right around the corner, buddy. No, I tend to share both your sentiments. I mean, I would say a couple things. Number one, right, we were in a position last offseason where Patrick Rakovsky, right, was re-signed, and at a point in time he was the only goalkeeper on the roster. I get it. This time around, right? Well, this time around last season, right? Rocco Rios Novo, ended up coming back into the fold, but it's like, hey, that was, by no means clear-cut expectation or anything like that. Honestly, a bit of a kind of a gift that Rocco ended up coming back in, and you knew once Rocco Rios Novo back on the roster, okay, boom, clear-cut number one. Path is a little bit more uncertain this time around, right? I mean, I would say I don't know, right? If he's going to be one of the only, major goalkeeper signings, I do agree, right? I think you need competition at all these stages. And if you bring in someone else and he ends up winning the job outright, so be it. That's a choice, but that is the decision that the coaching staff comes to. I do worry, though, and to share your sentiments, that if he is the only real signing that they make in that department, I don't think it will be, but if it is, that has a little bit of worry. The interesting thing about goalkeeper, right? 31 years old. I mean, you've seen keepers play well, even into their late 30s. But I think it is much more of I'm not going to say rust, right? I mean, he's a locker room presence. He's a leader. He has some, time between the sticks over the past 2 seasons, but just 7 matches over 2 seasons. It's not to say you can't rekindle for him. It's not like it's nothing, but it is far different from being the out and out top keeper.
I'll just say to James's comments there, and I understand what you're saying about you haven't had a full sample size. He's played barely any games for Phoenix Rising. But when you come in on weak form, shaky form before that, you haven't really done enough, I think, thereafter to really convince you that, wow, this is a guy who's a complete match winner. I mean, he has done before, but again, you got to go back a few years to get to that point. And even then, I mean, look, rightly or wrongly, there have been questions about whether he's realistically kept himself in shape enough as a backup at times to realistically, is he going to pressure Rocco Rios Novo as the number one? Probably not, right? The guy's one of the top young goalkeepers, I think, in the country here. But at the same time, those are still questions that get asked. Now, if he's given the opportunity to compete for the number 1 spot, he's really got to be up for it. And I think he's really got to put a very, very strong foot forward in a way that we haven't seen for a while. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, listen, we'll have to see. There's a lot that have to happen. Although we have to shout out everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat, Sly, James, Devanos, and now Bendo's Bluebird. All of you guys, appreciate you guys joining us. Yeah, I mean, right. There's a lot of people in the chat. We're very curious on just who we're going to sign. And when there are plenty of rumors of Rising going for high-profile players, it's hard to attract because it's the USL, not necessarily our lack of trying from the front office.
I will say on that front, though, that there's also a degree of just being smart with it as well, right? You got to be smart with the players you're going after. To an extent, you've also got to remember the fact this isn't the USL of old, where you just buy up all the big stars.
Yes.
You've got to think about it a little bit more. There's got to be a bit more thought goes into it. And yeah, let's see now with the next signing, Max, we're going to talk about.
Ooh, we do have the next signing. We're going to get to that on the other side.
Ooh, he's delaying
the break. Yes, folks. But we're talking about football, talking about all these, of course, Phoenix Rising. How about American football? Hear me out here. The Rate Bowl. The Rate Bowl is coming to town. It's this Thursday, December 26th, 3:30 p.m. We have the matchup. It is set. You got Kansas State. You got Rutgers. It's going to be a time.
Who are you taking in that one, Max?
Ooh.
Who are you taking? Who do you think wins that game?
I got Kansas State in this one.
You got Kansas State?
I got Kansas State in this one.
I've got mine written down somewhere, but I don't have it immediately to hand. What's
more powerful? Kansas State Wildcat or Rutgers Scarlet Knight? Because it can't just be the Knights. It's got to be the Scarlet Knight. Scarlet's
Scarlet.
That's a color, all right. But hey, it's going to be going down. It's going to be playing football in Major League Ballpark, little Chase Field action. Game tickets, premium experiences, and reserve parking are all available. Get yours now at ratebowl.com. Again, ratebowl.com.
I got Kansas State.
And folks, that's not the only football game going on. It's also the Fiesta Bowl. Join us, the first ever college football playoff quarterfinal at the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Buy your tickets today at fiestabowl.org/tickets. That's a great way to ring in New Year's Eve. Got another one. Penn State, Boise State.
I got Penn State.
Oh, you're not an Alshon Jeffrey fan?
I'm not.
Alshon Jeffrey. Oh my gosh, that's a throwback. Whoa, that's a throwback. That's a throwback. Alshon Jeffrey.
I'm not backing Boise State in this one, though.
I think Gentsy's going to go off.
I think
Bob
so
to the Heisman.
Yeah.
He's going to go off.
Oh, he's going off. Yeah. Owen doesn't know ball. Boise State.
Well, no,
taking him there. It's okay. Come on out. New Year's Eve. Game starts at 2:30. FanFest pregame party. Going out. State Farm Stadium. It's going to be a great time. Again, check it out. Fiestabowl.org/tickets and Viva Fiesta. Oh, that's silky. We're back.
Max, you can't compliment your own ad reads, Max.
No, I'm talking about the music, actually. Also the doldrums of my voice, very silky. Leave a
the
like.
Doldrums, much like we're Tottenham are right now.
Leave a like on your way in here. Kevin in the chat. Tony did the coin toss last time Rutgers played in Phoenix. That is absolutely crazy.
Jimmy Kimmel was there too.
Not incorrect. I think it was back in like 2005. Yeah, I read something about that today. But yes, speaking of football, going back to the other kind, Phoenix Rising,
the real kind,
made a second
kind.
signing. guys, listen, this team starting to shape up to the next incarnation of North Texas. A C because Phoenix Rising signs right back. Collin Smith.
Yeah.
Collin Smith joins Phoenix Rising after time spent with MLS and USL championship clubs. Gents, 21-year-old right back. What do we think?
Well, goodbye, 2022 Oakland Roots. Hello, 2022 North Texas.
More things change, the more they stay the same.
More things change, the more they stay the same. Look, obviously, to an extent, Pa-Modou Kah is going to bring in his own guys. That's not a shock. Some of these guys, they're younger guys, right? I know he's looking at it with an eye to development. I will say, of course, so there's a big difference between how things were in North Texas and how they are here in Phoenix, whereby North Texas primarily is a reserve team. Phoenix Rising is not. And developing players is a good thing. You should be developing players. You should be finding ways to generate value for both A, these young players that they want to come and play for you, but B, for your team in that you can move them on, you can transfer them on, you can find ways to bring extra revenue into the club in that way as well. However, that has to be balanced. Player development can't come at the expense of results in the here and now, because when you're Phoenix Rising, those expectations are the highest, I think, of almost any team in USL. I mean, you compare otherwise, maybe Louisville, maybe Tampa Bay, maybe Charleston at the minute, but Charleston even then fluctuate a little bit more. Rising are right up there in terms of expectations, and they are every season. So here's the take on Collin in particular. Look, he comes in. I see the rationale. Young guy, played for him before. Has some parts to his game maybe that could be interesting. Wasn't too bad at Birmingham, but last season at Rhode Island was. I think we all know pretty much, and you can tell. I'm sure Rees has the number exactly to hand on the number of minutes he played and the way that he played last year, but it was not great. Obviously, look, I don't watch as much of the Eastern Conference as I'd like to. Tends to be on the same day as Phoenix Rising are playing, funnily enough. But it was described to me by someone who is more familiar with them as, he blatantly couldn't cut it for Rhode Island last year. Again, that doesn't mean that's what he's going to be here. That doesn't mean that's what you're going to see out of him once he comes here. But I will say that after a rough season in another team at this level, those stakes, that pressure is up. Now, he may thrive under that pressure, especially with the coaching staff that he's worked with before. But we have to wait and see. And what I'd say is I don't look at him and just go, oh, yes, this is great. This is going to, really take a solid step forward. I think to me, it's very much a wait and see kind of signing.
Yeah, I mean, his last season with Rhode Island was definitely weird. It was only 456 minutes across 19 appearances. He didn't play for them after August, which that minute total per match is around 24 minutes per match. So you're not really getting the best sample size. It's going to be towards the end of matches. But that Birmingham season in 2023, he spent 29 games, 36 across all comps. He played a ton there. 2,000 minutes in just the league alone. So that's more of the sample size. Seeing him play for an Eastern Conference side, you hope that he's fit after that season where it just did not play the final 2 months, didn't play in the playoffs, wasn't even on the bench. So you got to hope that comes in fit. It's a fullback, so it's really the first fullback that Rising signed this window. I mean, because Gabby Torres and Ryan Flood really, I don't consider fullbacks of that margin. But so signing a fullback's huge. I'm expecting more to come, of course, but getting that first one is key for this Rising side this window.
I don't disagree. I mean, listen, you kind of made the joke of, hey, this is out with the 2022 Oakland Roots in with 2022 North Texas. I mean, listen, I think that there's a little bit of difference for a couple things, right? I mean, we're all talking about, right? You have familiarity and some chemistry with some of the players that you've worked with, and where I think if we're joking, but if you do harken back to when these signs were coming in under Juan Guerra, I think that those were players who were a bit more established, who you already kind of had a better idea, better for worse, what they were bringing to the table. Some of that was good. Some of that was, that's okay. I think if you're going to look at this, all of these painted with the chemistry that they have with Pa-Modou Kah, this all strikes me as, you are really shaping the identity of this team as very significantly going younger. Whatever you think of that, whether you think that positive or negative, that has been the key trait for the majority of signings aside from the returners that they have announced in the recent weeks with Remy Cabral, who admittedly is young in his own right, and Patrick Rakovsky, who is not. But I think that's really important here is because you're bringing guys that are 20, 21 years old within that mold, they're a bit more moldable and they still have maybe right now a slightly lower floor, but the ceiling is much higher. And to me, that's going to be very interesting. The fact that Collin Smith does have that USL championship experience, that does, go for a lot. And we'll just have to see. I mean, again, with all these signings, I think we've kind of been seeing the trend. It's not any one of them are going to be necessarily, wow, that's a marquee signing. But I think, right, you're always going to have to solidify your roster. And again, we're hoping for, if you are bolstering and bringing in your key pieces and the players that you know now, that's fine. You just need to hit it home with some more big time potential players that have the floor now, not just the ceiling later.
Right. And he is, though, and this is taking it away and following on from your point, taking it away from Collin, specifically looking more broader picture with this team and how they're assembling this team right now. Phoenix Rising came off of a pretty dire year last year.
Right.
I think it's fair to say that at times the trust between, the fan base, the team wasn't always there. Obviously, look, you've got a new manager coming in. You have to give him time. You have to let him, put up what he wants to do and give him the time to do that. More so than you may do with someone who was here and already established at this club. However, it is an interesting move from, I think, just the relations with your fans, the image and all that. When you come out and you sign a lot of guys who, in the nicest possible way, a lot of these guys have fell out the roster kind of players. Maybe they do start down the line, but most of these guys that have been signed to date are not people that you go, wow, look at him. Season's turning around now.
100%.
I'm changing my expectations for this team based on the signing of a player like this. And those guys are hard to come by.
They are.
Right? They're not easy to sign. But I will say that I would not expect this team to go very far if they didn't. The counterpoint, and I will acknowledge it, is that New Mexico did a very different kind of thing last year whereby, again, they signed a lot of guys who many of them had done all right at the next level down and took the step up, and the hope was they were going to step up. And it worked. It really worked. But whether you can replicate that here, I don't know. Time will tell. But I will say the longer it goes, whereby these signings feel like fill the roster out kind of signings, and you don't get the big splash, I think the more nervous people will be. Right now, maybe not too nervous. You've got time.
You do.
You got a couple of months to get things sorted. But for now, no.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, you build these signings in because this is what you solidify your future with down the road, right? We always knew whether they're going to say it outright or not. This always felt like not just a reset. We're going to use the other dreaded R word, a rebuild, right? It's very much has seemed that way with new management coming in, with a lot of these players who've been built with this team over the last couple seasons, since the move to the new stadium and everything like that. A lot of them are not there anymore. It feels like a fresh start. And so you're laying the groundwork for that down the road. To your point, Owen, though, it's going to be a very long season in the short term if things don't get solidified. Potential is there for long term, but I think, as we all know, especially within the game of global football, potential can only get you so far. Not every single 20, 21-year-old is going to hit. So while I'm all for investing in youth and taking the team in a new direction, you need to be able to solidify things in the short term in order to see that all happen.
Phoenix Rising is not Orange County. Let's put that off the bat. Phoenix Rising has expectations far and above Orange County. No offense to Orange County. They do what they do.
Just catching a stray
and they do
here.
it very, very well. Yeah. But there is an understood pressure when you are the manager at Orange County that you play young players, because that's what Orange County do. Now, again, you've got to have an element of it, no matter what club you're in USL. That's just the nature of it. But look, you can bring out rebuild, and I agree to an extent, but we also need to understand, I think, and dissect what a rebuild is in USL Championship, because a rebuild in USL Championship is not what most fans looking at this, who maybe come from more of a perspective of the other US leagues, the major leagues around this country, think of as a rebuild. I don't think that's how this league tends to work. Teams tend to go through the cycle at a much quicker pace. Now, that doesn't mean they need to be a title contender this year, but they need to show marked improvement from last year, realistically. And to me, that probably means if you aren't hosting a home playoff game, you need to be right there or thereabouts. But quite frankly, with the amount of turnover that you see at these clubs at this level anyway, that goal of hosting a home playoff game every year is something they have to achieve. How long has it been since they've hosted one? 2021. Right? They have had 3 seasons in a row now without hosting a home playoff game. That's big money for this level, right? You have to bear in mind how much money the club relies on from gate receipts. And they're not getting it. They're not getting it right now. That has to be the goal. So while, yes, it's a rebuild, yes, I'm not going to say it's title or bust this year. And I don't think it is ever really in these leagues. The nature of it with the playoffs at the end, you can have a very, very good season and fall a bit unlucky at the end against a good team. But when you think about things that are happening around the league, when you think about the fact that Rhode Island made the final in their expansion year.
Yeah.
When you think about that, the Phoenix Rising went from missing the playoffs to winning the title. In the same year that Charleston Battery went from missing the playoffs to making it to the final. When we talk about things like even some of the big boys in this league, on the west side, let's look at it. Sacramento. Manager's gone. They've got a brand new manager in. They're going into a sort of rebuild this year. Neil Collins coming in there. That's a big capture for them. A big name that they managed to bring back and not getting a lot of love from Wraith Rovers after leaving them in this kind of a scenario. I don't necessarily blame the fans there. That's not a particularly great way to go so quickly. The rebuild process and the rebuild kind of length just isn't the same as, say, taking something like an NBA team and saying, wow, it might take him a couple of years to get back up to the peak. No, you should be realistically a very competitive team if you do things well, even in a rebuild.
And it's magnified because you are Phoenix Rising.
Yeah. I mean, look at Las Vegas last year. They went from being
they
the
blew
Las
their
Vegas
entire
Lights.
squad up.
And they started announcing players to like February.
Yeah,
it was so late. And then they hosted a home playoff game. That's what you need to look at. I mean, they were a joke of a club. I'm going to be honest. Everyone laughed at them, and then they became not in a good way. And they became a very serious club last season. Were competitive, hosted a home playoff game. That's what you need to look at. Take that as motivation for how you go about your transfer business.
I'll also say that despite, obviously, I think you have to give Pa-Modou Kah time. I do think there are questions to raise. If this squad starts well, great.
Sure.
If they struggle at the start of it, I do fear that some of the negativity from last year comes back in very quickly. There are certain people at that club, obviously, I think elements of the fan base have them on a pretty short leash. And I don't think they're going to be happy to see another poor, slow start. Because ultimately you can't afford to keep doing this. There are people who need to prove themselves at that club, be it players, be it people off the field who need to prove themselves, quite frankly. You're not getting this handed to you. You have to actually show that you're good enough to compete at this level.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, you're going to hear about it.
No, 100%. And listen, I mean, this, where it falls is, even if this is a rebuild, a restart, whatever it is, there has not been this clean slate of getting ahead of it within the offseason with the firm direction since you saw, Juan Gary took the interim helm at the tail end of 2022 going into the 2023 season. It has not felt this way at the club in a while. So yes, it may seem that things are kind of starting over again, but as you've seen in there and as you have seen around the league, just because you are kind of going with that rebuild label does not mean you're able to really just rest on it and kind of say, hey, we're for the future. You need to be for the future and for the now. That's just kind of the nature of this league. And not just that, the proof of concept is there. You have seen, guys like you mentioned, Phoenix Rising in spurts, but also even more recently, Rhode Island last year, Las Vegas Lights are able to bring in personnel, bring in new coaching staff, and completely kind of tear down to the studs and rebuild again. Phoenix Rising, not only is that expectation there because of what you've seen recently around the league, but because you are Phoenix Rising, and you can say all you want, rebuild and everything, which that is what I've subscribed to, but it does not mean that you're able to just rest on your laurels, let it go from there.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got a couple people in the chat. Mando Wilson a little bit further up. Got some more likes when we were using the Rees picture. No, I know you don't really do the PHNX Rising podcast, but you got a fish in there. get the proper leave a like photo in there. But yes, man, you're
got
absolutely
the
right.
proper one. Where's the proper one?
Proper one. Oh, it's
The
Rees.
Rees.
The Rees hot dog picture.
The Rees
leave a
hot
like.
dog,
There
leave
we
a
go.
like. There we go.
Noah found it. There we go. And
Great drawing.
And
but
Sly, here's the really
You may
interesting
see
one.
more of that drawing later on in the
propose
show.
a karaoke segment for 2025. 0 goals. Rees sings. 1 goal. Owain sings. 2 goals. Adman sings. 3 goals or more. Producer duet. Copyright strike for horrible singing.
And then slightly further down, Kevin with "I will pay the group not to sing."
And then Devin, I will
Kevin,
double what Big Kev plays for the group to sing.
Devin, where are you getting that money
yeah,
from?
I don't think you have that.
I think, me getting the 0 goals one is ridiculous because if this team plays anything like they did last
You're
season,
gonna be singing a lot.
I'll be singing 34 matches.
Well, to be fair, they did hear Max singing on the
I have
cold
a
open.
loquacious voice. Thank you very much.
It was awful.
It's
Max,
beautiful.
that
It
was
was awful.
terrible.
I'm the songbird of our generation.
Max can't carry a tune. I think it's poor.
No more singing.
Who
for
would
Max, please.
who would be the producer duet? It'd be Kyle singing with who? Who would we want him to duet
Rees.
See.
with? There it is. Well,
To be fair, that was for 3 goals or more, so it's,
Yeah, that's never gonna
it
happen.
hits a
either,
couple of
so.
times, but not
what
frequently.
it was only
usually.
1 for you? Yeah, that could happen. Oh, and are you a singer?
No.
Wait, no, you're a Chumbawamba. You're a little Chumbawamba.
We've done that before.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, and you've also absolutely given me the short end of the stick on karaoke.
Oh yeah, Matt's
I
a big
don't even wanna
karaoke
know.
guy.
I
You're the
don't wanna
worst.
know.
We'll leave it like
Devin, you don't have any oil money.
okay. Well, we can leave it like on
You are not Manchester
leave
City.
a like, help us get those up, and we'll
Christmas
promise Owen to
money.
do something. But we're gonna come back on the other side of the break. We have a fun little Rees themed activity. Don't go anywhere. Yes. Well, we have fun things going on, and you know what's really fun? Find gifts for people. And what better time to do it? It's the holidays. You still have time. Go to brandedbills.com, enter code promo PHNX. Again, promo code PHNX. Save 20% off your order with our friends. Handsome man Noah behind the Mac. He's got a Branded Bills hat going on. He's rocking the ASU Branded Bills hat. They do have a collaboration partnership with ASU. They also have one with with U of A, but they also have
Who
one.
are they?
Hey,
Who?
who? Yeah, who? Yeah, you of who? Exactly. Well, go brandonbills.com again. Get yourself some hats. They have the fitted hats. They have the trucker hats. They have little rope hats. All these nice things on there. It's that darn easy to do, and then you look great doing it. Little last minute stocking stuff or all of that great stuff. brandonbills.com. Promo code PHNX. Plus, go to our locker, get a little collaboration hat, Brandon Bills, PHNX exclusive. Check them out. Also, friends over at Circle K. You're talking about stocking stuffers, talking about things to get people last minute. Gentlemen, if you were to get one thing as a stocking stuffer from Circle K, what would it be? Go, Rees.
It probably wouldn't fit and would spill everywhere, but a polar pop.
How would you wrap a polar pop? I'm very curious, but
That would spill
it
everywhere.
would. But it's only 79 cents. Good
Yeah.
call. Owen, you?
I feel like the correct answer in these times is just to get a gift card for gas.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like it. And you can save even further money. Become an Inner Circle member. All you got to do, download the Circle K app, opt into the Inner Circle program with just a phone number. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fills, and then you can save 3 cents afterwards. Get up to 5 cents, make it to the max level.
It's not the max level, Max.
I don't see that on the website, but it's check them out. Circle K, snacks, polar pops, food, everything you need. Last minute stocking stuffers, even some lottery scratchers. It's that darn easy to do. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Back the K, baby. All right.
So just to address a couple of things
Oh,
here.
yeah,
So
you
the
got
Rickety
some-
Bridge
oh, yeah.
had one a little bit tiny further up, about 4 managers in one season.
Isn't that crazy? Wow.
In a year,
Yeah.
sorry.
In a calendar year.
calendar year,
Calendar
which
year.
is correct. I will say it's slightly misleading solely because one of them left effectively on for a new job like a couple of days into the new year at the start of the year.
There's no technicality. It's fact.
No, I know, but
4.
it sounds so much worse than it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then you appoint a new guy who gets fired mid-season. You then
Even
bring in
3
an
calendar years
interim.
not bad-
You
is
bring
not
in an
good.
interim. I know. You
It's
bring
not
in an
good.
interim
Yeah.
who's not really ever going to take you to the end of the year anyway. And then you bring a new guy in. So only 2 actually had
Never be sorry,
games
Rickety Bridge. We appreciate
in
you.
the 1 year. I'll also say here to Devin, and this is a great one. It's going to lead us on towards what we're doing
Perfectly,
next
yeah.
because we're cutting Max out of this. Max doesn't believe in the darts, so we're cutting him out of
That's
this.
not
But to
entirely
Devin's
true.
question there, did we watch the PDC in the PHNX office today?
Of course.
Of course we
Of course
have.
it did. We watched
The
Rapid
World
Ricky
Darts
Evans.
Championship
What are we
on
doing?
here
Scott
in
Williams
the studio.
won?
You
What are we
know
doing?
we had the darts
It's the best
on.
sport in the world,
PHX
Max.
Darts podcast.
You know what? It might as well be for the next 25 minutes.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
We're getting darts theme from now. And you know what we're going to do?
I'm scared.
We're taking a little trip down to the local. Rees is not old enough in this country, but if he was in a different country, maybe he would be. We're taking a trip down to the local, and we're going to see now. We're going to pull around and have a look at Rees's prize board for the upcoming season. So we need to know, this is what it's kind of going to look like. You see the hot dog helper on there. But we're going to go through what's behind each
That's
of these
gonna haunt my
prizes on there.
dreams.
Remember,
That-
stay in the
that
red,
design's gonna haunt
stay out
me.
of the black if you want to get prizes in here,
Yeah.
okay? So, Rees, what do we want for this coming season? What is Phoenix Rising trying to do? Let's have a look what we've got in one.
Gerald Margarita, 15 or more goals and assists combined. You know, I had to throw Gerald Margarita in
course
there
you did.
somewhere. Mr. Aura himself. After a season where no one on Rising had combined 10 goals or
Oh
assists,
gosh.
Gerald has the capability. I mean, his stats in the Netherlands were up there. I mean, 20 goals and assists in the season there. So 15, I think, is a fair number for him to reach. If he obviously he's going to miss time due to the Gold Cup and stuff, but that's a fair number in my eyes. Max, what are you laughing about there? You all right,
Something
man?
just splashed in my eye, but we'll ignore that one.
Oh God.
All right. I mean, any comments, Max?
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to think right now who on the club can get to 15 combined goals and assists. To me, I don't think it's not that Gerald doesn't have the talent. I think you've kind of seen in his positioning. I think he's maybe more of a setup man. He might get there even closer with an assist.
Yeah.
15, maybe a little high. I will go. I think double digits certainly can get there. I mean, if you're looking at the roster, who is most likely? It's tough. I mean, if he can stay healthy, to me, currently on the roster, Remy Cabral maybe might fit that bill a little bit better, but it's a big if. And also, you just need some help around him because if Gerald's going to be the only guy really stretching the field from that position, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
All right, but here's the real question. Could Jill Margarita hit a 15-dart leg?
No.
Ooh, no is the answer. All right. Rees, the man has aura.
But not that type of aura. Darts is a different aura. I mean, look at Stephen Bunting and Gerald Margarita. Those are
More
different
of the
auras.
Rashad Sweeting aura. Like, the guy is
We love Rashad
up there, but maybe not quite.
Rashad
All right. Let's have a look now. Into...
Beat New Mexico at home. I mean, Rising haven't done it since 2022. I know that is only 2 seasons, but you really don't want to make it 3. I know most people don't want to say it's their biggest rival, but I'm going to say it. Rising's biggest rival is New Mexico. You got to beat them on your home turf.
I mean, listen, everyone was giving a hard time of, how can you consider them a rival if they're not good? They were first in the West last year. I mean, say what you want. They've had Rising's number.
They not get the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you got to get revenge too.
No,
yeah, I forgot about that
100%.
part.
Oh yeah, that too. No, 100%. I mean, listen, again, it's people always want to make rivalries as if it has to be 2 teams are both very good at the same time. No, rivalries can very much be historical. They can very much be based on animosity and what has happened within the history. And no better team fits this bill, to Rees's point, than New Mexico. I mean, yeah, don't lose at home to them again.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. All right. Moving on then. In 3.
Score more than 40 goals. They only scored 33 last season.
That's miserable.
Which-
That's in 34 games, by the way.
Which is the least in Rising's history. The second lowest before was 40 goals in 2016 as Arizona United. They scored 46 goals in 16 games in 2020.
Wait.
Yeah.
46 goals in 16 games?
Yeah.
I'm no mathematician. That's almost like 3 goals a game.
It's a lot.
Whoa.
It's many goals.
You're saying this is less than 1.
Yeah,
It's not great.
Yeah, you need to find a way to score goals because, no offense, but 0-0 matches are not entertaining. I want to see a little, maybe a 3-1 action every now and then. Something with goals. It's exciting. That's what we go for.
All right. Any thoughts?
I mean, listen, as a Golden Boot winner myself,
Oh,
and as,
no, here
and
he
as,
goes
and as,
again.
and as one of the top most athletic people at PHNX,
Yeah, 'cause you won the Reno
fully
5K.
understand that it's
He's getting booed, by the way, off
jealousy
to the
is
side.
contagious around here.
You
No,
gotta
it's-
flex the 5K more, Max.
that's right.
Your best
Thank you.
athletic
That's right.
achievement.
Also a former 5K champion within my age bracket.
So, Max, if you was
I
going
don't
to
know
go
how
pro
to
in any sport,
You
what
won the
would it be?
60 to 70 age
bring that
bracket,
up. I knew
Max?
it was going there. 20 to 24. Thank you very much.
If you could go pro in any sport, what would it be?
Clearly cross country.
Ooh.
Whereas I feel like Reese is just prepping for Q school now, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Do you
oh
see
yeah.
the
I
emails
will
are coming
be
out?
there.
The PDC
I
sent an
will be
email
there.
out about that.
I'm,
Yeah? He
I-
will be there. We should crowdfund for that.
That
actually.
would be
Let's get
scenes.
Reese to Milton Keynes. Let's get
Oh,
into Q school.
I don't want to go to Milton Keynes.
No one
though.
wants to go to
That's
Milton
the biggest
Keynes.
issue.
Ooh.
I get,
All right. Did we get an answer from you?
What sport would I go?
Yeah.
Little a little shuffleboard ain't bad.
I mean,
I'm not sure that's something you can go.
is that what they
pro
play
in.
at the retirement home?
Yeah,
now?
shuffleboard's a young man's game. You're thinking of like curling without the ice though. That's,
Oh dear,
God.
oh dear. All right, moving
Lou
on.
in the chat. Hold on, what's my
In four.
wait? Hold on. Lou is asking in the chat. What's my 40 time?
Max, don't interrupt me, man.
Probably
Too
20
quick.
seconds.
Too quick. Can't measure on the stopwatch.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna have to do it again.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
In four.
Find a top 5 goalkeeper. I mean,
Okay.
no offense, Patrick Rakovsky, but we said I don't think he can be the starter next season. But I also don't. This is the one that I think is the most realistic. Rising have a proven track record signing goalkeepers throughout their entire history. Rocco, Lubin, Andre Rawls, Ben Lund, Awaz. I mean, they've signed good goalkeepers. So this is one I think is probably the most realistic that Rising can go out. But I think it is a necessity that Rising do find a good goalkeeper.
I mean,
I can't argue with it.
they're goalkeeper FC. I mean, no, honestly, listen, we've seen some absolutely abysmal Rising clubs throughout the years, and yeah, what do they all have in common? And maybe not for the best reasons, but they have a keeper who is at the top of the game, top 5 to Reese's point, and they rack in the saves.
Very true. All right, this one's going to upset Max. In 5.
Make the USL Jägermeister
No!
Cup knockout rounds.
What are we doing? Brand redacted.
I know.
Oh my
But
god!
it's the name of the tournament.
It's the name of the
Max.
tournament.
Chill.
Make the cup knockout.
But there's
rounds.
2 cups, so
You
which
can-
cup are we
Yeah,
talking
which
At
cup
about?
least
are you
say
talking
brand
about?
redacted. What are we doing? Come on here.
No,
Well,
because
no.
we're not as
The Open Cup might sign a sponsor to it. too,
Yeah,
Max. You don't
then
know.
it's
I mean,
unclear.
Okay.
You know?
So I mean, I know most people are a bit confused about the Jägermeister and how they feel. Owen Evans, but I'm a fan of it. I liked it for when it was with just League One teams last year. I thought it was exciting. I know
promise.
this isn't going to be a common opinion, but I really think Rising should try and just push for it. I don't think they have the easiest of groups, but I mean, like Texoma away is miles away from civilization, but I think could be a fun one.
I
but-
looked at that one, and it's like you have to fly to Dallas and then drive for like 2 hours.
Oh, that's all.
There's no
That's
other way
just-
of getting to this
That sounds like
place.
3 free points right there.
That was you know, I will actually co-sign for that. And again, when I say it, it's not free ads. It's called prospecting.
Yeah.
Jaeger was actually my first drink, so I will. I'll take it.
Here's the thing. He's
I'll
just
take it.
naming,
Yeah.
like the name of the cup.
Yeah.
You're out here like
Again, I'm
bigging up.
prospecting.
He's prospecting.
Completely
That's
different.
what Max
Prospecting.
does.
Okay. 21
Are
over
for
only.
gold.
All right. In 6.
Potmar Boy makes all league first team. Made second team last year. Always got to shoot for higher. Hope he keeps growing. I mean that's
tall.
if he stays healthy, stays with the team the whole season. I honestly don't think would be too much of a shock given the form that he showed down the stretch of last season. But again, you just got to hope he continues growing into the potential that we all see.
I mean, yeah, until and goes gets drafted. Well,
He didn't
He
get
went
drafted.
undrafted. He went
It's a
undrafted.
joke.
Because
No,
it was
I'm
nonsense,
joking. I
and
know.
people were talking about this
we're
guy's
joking.
going to get
It's
drafted.
a joke. It keeps on.
Of course he
giving.
wasn't. They'd have had
It
to pay the
keeps on
transfer fee.
giving.
They ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I do like that one. And I mean, honestly, if anyone can make a further jump on the squad and who out of anyone on this roster, not only currently, but in anyone that they might sign, Potmar Boy probably has the most decent chance to do it, not just based on playing time, not just based on how much further you can grow within your second year. But I mean, imagine this. He has already established himself as one of the better cover defenders within the league. If his passing comes along with it in any bit of jump further than what we saw from last season, watch out.
Yeah, he would be elite if he had.
I don't like to
Indeed.
throw around the E word like that, but that is very true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very, very
Wait,
true.
One
I
second
mean,
before you do it, why do we say the end?
That's how they said.
No,
That's
but
how they do
like
it on
why?
the
What-
TV.
what's-
It's
like,
just how they
what's-
said on bully.
It's
Okay.
just
Can't be a bit of
it's
bully.
telling
Max.
you. It's
I'm
telling you
just asking.
what
Can't
team
be
he's
We're
trouble.
trying
from.
to educate the people.
So the idea here, it's like a prize board whereby you throw the darts
You
in
chuck
and you
their
win
ass,
the
yeah.
things. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just telling you what's behind each of the numbers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
In 7.
Make the home ground a fortress again. From 2019 to 2021, Rising
Fortress.
played 42 total games at home. They dropped 10 points in 10 of them. 32 wins, 8 draws, 2 losses. Last season, Rising played 17 games at home, won 7, and dropped points in 10 of them. I'm not asking for that 2019 form again. That 2020, just where Rising were ridiculous. Even 2021, Rising were ridiculous at home. But just something better than dropping points in 10 of your matches at home.
You've got to do better than that. You just have
You
to.
do.
If you can't find ways to get those points at home, especially knowing that for parts of the season, right, you have the advantage. There are teams that come in that aren't used to the heat.
Yeah.
You have teams that come in from the east that are dealing with the fact that it's a late time
That's
to
a good
them,
point,
right?
too.
When you're on the East Coast, it's hard to travel out to Phoenix in the summer because when you're kicking off a game at 8 o'clock, it feels like you're kicking off a game at 11 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, what's that? Oh, it's an 8 p.m. kickoff. Oh, what's that? Triple digits? Come on. Use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Get more points out of it. 100%.
You just have to. You have to. And then for the fun one, in 8.
Secure a home playoff game. I mean, we haven't seen one since 2021 against RGV.
Way too long.
That's 3 seasons. You cannot make it a 4th. That's way too long. And even that 2021, I know you really can't control how far you go in the playoffs. But they lost in the first round there, so we haven't seen multiple home games in 1 year since 2020, but that was limited attendance. It's really been since 2019 since there've been like a full crowd and multiple home games in one playoff season. That's just really unacceptable in my eyes for a club like Phoenix Rising.
Yeah.
I got
Not much more to add on that one, right? And the final one, but just before we pop it up there, I do have to point out, I did have to convince Rees that it was not a good idea here to put down, the classic like garden furniture for someone who lives in a council flat in Rotherham.
Or a speedboat.
Or a speedboat, yeah. Not quite what they're looking for, but let's have a look now at Rees's special prize, which is also something very implausible. It is
a home kit that is not an Adidas template. It's the Adidas, whatever you want to say it, call it. Their kits.
It's Adidas is technically.
Why do you look like a creepy Where's Waldo?
Regardless, their kits just aren't good, Max.
That's scary.
It's bully.
It's bully,
It's
Max.
bully.
Don't disrespect.
I don't know what
Don't
that is.
disrespect bully.
I don't know what that is. I go sign that. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to
It would
happen.
be nice.
But they're
Right,
boring.
here's the question, Rees. Right, with 9 darts, how many are they getting?
Ooh.
Who's throwing? Is Max throwing?
No.
Top 5
Because,
dart
no,
player
because it's from the
PHNX.
club. We want to know what the club's going to do.
Better than Eric Rubio.
So let's say first 3 darts up, we'll give them to Pa. Next 3 darts we're giving to Bobby. The next 3 darts we're giving to Brandon. What do they get?
All right.
Yes,
Well,
Rickety Bridge. Yes, kid is a jersey. You got it.
you got to hope they get 8 home playoff. And
So you think they're going to get 1 of those? They get number 8.
you got to hope.
What other ones do you think they're realistically going to get?
Beat New Mexico at home because
number
that's
2.
one match. Pretty easy. Or it's not easy to beat someone, but
You're not getting.
it's not a long.
Drill's not getting.
34.
I don't think Drill's getting to 15.
You don't think? Wow,
It's
Max.
not 15 goals or 15
goals
assists.
plus
It's
assists.
I'm
goals
aware.
plus. I think that's a reasonable number.
You're at a point there
Like, it's
whereby,
high, but-
it's doable.
It's more or less a goal contribution every
Other
what-
game.
Yeah, more or less.
Every other game.
Yeah.
Exactly every other game.
I
Because
don't know,
it's 30
man.
league games now.
I don't know, man. I don't
Wow.
buy it.
Oh, and hopefully they score more than 40 goals because not scoring is as
Do you
I
think
said,
they get
it's
3
boring.
of the 8 plus, obviously?
I don't think these are the 3 that
the
I.
special prize.
If I was shooting, if I was throwing it, I would want them to go. Hey, go for these 3. Those are the 3. I'd be like, hey, you got to go for.
All right, but what do you think? If we take, ignoring the fact that obviously we're making this up as the little game show here, but what do you think they're actually going to do this season, though? Seriously, in terms of the number of them they're going to get.
Jurl 15 is high, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's between that like 12 to 15. He only misses it by a couple. The New Mexico at home, I think, should be a lock. Just because I think you have to win at home. The score more than 40 goals, I think it's a lock. The find a top 5 goalkeeper, I wouldn't be surprised if Rising can do that. As I said, they've proven it over the years. Jägermeister Cup knockouts, Brand Redacted Cup knockouts.
you.
That's
Don't
difficult.
give in to this, man.
Yeah,
We don't negotiate with this.
Yeah, sorry, Jägermeister Cup.
My
again.
job is literally to negotiate.
We don't negotiate with you, Max.
I do the negotiation.
sponsors the cup? I
No,
Oh,
no.
it's
it was
Eric Ruby, it's the
Jägermeister Cup.
Jägermeister.
How much you about down there, Peachnik, son?
The Jägermeister
No, you can hear
Cup.
just fine. No one asked you. You keep
Let
researching
me
over
pull the
there.
press release. They've got a full paragraph on this, okay?
Why don't you go do that on your own time, Eric Ruby?
But that one's gonna be difficult just because it's so hard to make the knockouts. You have to win your group, and you don't play everyone in your group, or you have to be one of the wild cards by scoring the most goals, which could be which Rising's not doing. Let's be real. So that one's gonna be tough. Pa-Modou first team of the year. I also would not be surprised if I saw that, just because again he's so young. You just gotta hope that natural progression continues to follow. Make home a fortress again. As I said, I'm not asking for that 2019, 2020.
What does that mean? How do we quantify make home a fortress?
Win more than half your home games.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you're dropping
Okay.
points in 10 of the 17, that's not a fortress.
And I'm also going back to well, first, how about number 9, a full stadium, Amanda? Well, I mean, that honestly, my expectations are low, so that might qualify as a fortress for me. I'll give you 3/4 of a stadium. That'd be so on a consistent basis. That's being genuine.
Yeah.
That's being genuine. Outside of the summer months, that's what I would consider a fortress. That's not even trying to take a shot. That would be very great for this club. For top 5 keeper, what would you quantify that as?
It's hard to tell because you've got new keepers come in that are from outside the league. I think it's just realistic. If you sat down at the end of the season and put together a list of the best keepers in the league, he'd be somewhere in the top 5.
Not necessarily a number of saves, because that could very much. That's
Number
not
of
a
saves,
good
There's a whole
goals
lot of
allowed
different
average,
bits to go into that save success, number of goals that you face,
Not
the expected goals prevented,
metric.
all of
No
those things. I mean, same as clean sheets is often a dubious stat, because you take the Eric Dick example, right, playing at Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and it doesn't really work because it's just a team that's set up defensively. Of course, he's going to have more clean sheets.
Yeah. I mean, like the goals allowed
He's
average
apparently
per
goalkeeper
match
of the
is
year,
also,
though. But
that's no offense to Eric
didn't get
Dick,
my
but
vote
that's
on that one. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. But I think that Rising can do that. Like, I think that one is fairly achievable because I said that's Rising have the track record. So I think Rising can go out and sign someone, but I mean, we'll see. We'll have to see there.
Well, to Devon's comment there about Tottenham Stadium, for example, is the opposite of a fortress. They do have Squid Game guards, even if they don't have wins.
All right, that's tough.
Hey, they won in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday. They were up 3-0. They nearly blew it.
That was
Thursday.
That was Thursday. Okay, well,
But that was the Carabao Cup, was it, Max?
What's Carabao?
It's an energy drink, I hear.
Okay, we're done here. No more cup competitions. You can all go do that on your own time. But actually, we did win. So there we go.
Who do you
Do you think
in
you'll
the
do well in the
Emirates FA
Emirates
Cup?
FA Cup? They got Tamworth in the Emirates FA Cup, haven't they, man?
Can you stop saying the brand? You can just say FA Cup. It does the job there just fine. Yes.
So, Max, what would you say is peak Barclays then for you?
Advertisement FC. Wait, what?
Who's Peak
Barclays?
Okay,
Come on.
we are done. That is my preferred bank is a differential credit union. Actually, is my banking institution of choice. But yes, let's see. Goodness, everyone in the chat, man, you guys are crushing it, gents. We got a couple minutes for nonsense around here.
Oh, let's talk about the
Hey,
darts.
because we haven't been doing nonsense. Let's talk
No,
about
we
the
haven't.
darts.
Some of
Rees,
the
how we
darts.
feeling? So Rees had his tip for the darts. He had none other than the Flying Scotsman, Gary Anderson. How did that go, Rees?
Well, as you hear them chanting many times when you turn on a darts match, Scotland got battered everywhere they went, Kyle. And I had him. He came in on such good form into this tournament, and he crashed and burned to Jeffrey de Graaf, who also knocked out my other favorite player, Rashad Sweeting.
It's true. Gary Anderson losing 3-0 with a
Scotland
92.5 average. Not a great start there. He would have played Paolo Nebrida in the next round.
Paolo Nebrida's fun to watch.
He is fun to watch before taking on the winner of Michael Van Gerwen, Brendan Dolan in the fourth. But that's not going to happen because he's out now, which means we're turning to your next favorite, aren't we, here? Which, there's two ways we could go with this. Who would you say your next favorite is?
Well, I mean,
because you know who the two players are.
I know who the
one's
two
the
players are.
One's the 4 seed, one's the 8 seed. Reese, who we take?
We'll go with the 8 seed, the people's champion, Stephen Bunting.
Stephen the Bullet Bunting.
I mean, his walkout's electric.
You watched his walkout
it's
today,
amazing.
Max.
It wasn't bad.
Let's go Bunting, mental. Come on, like everything
not,
about
it's
him.
not bad.
Do you think he's got enough about him to get past? Well, you presume probably that he gets past Razman now in the third round.
Yeah.
Damon Heta. That's a game.
Get a
Yeah,
couple
that-
beers
that-
in me, I'll be a
I mean,
good
that
darts.
could be a Premier League deciding who gets one of those last spots. I also wouldn't be surprised if Heta faces some trouble by Luke Woodhouse because Woodhouse has been.
These are just
good.
fake names you're not talking
Yeah,
about.
I
These
mean,
are- these
Luke
are not-
Littler, when
these
you
are
look at
not
it,
real
obviously
people.
the guy who's really propelled
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of the interesting darts, especially over the last year or so, where it has bumped up a lot. Just because that really, implausible run he made last year
Yeah.
for the teenager. Can Luke Littler do it again, in your mind?
I mean, his side of the brackets had some upsets.
It's had a lot of upsets. In fact, there are, just looking at the seeded players that remain, you've got Ryan Searley, you've got Nathan Aspinall,
Andrew Gilden.
These are fake. names.
Okay,
These
you're
are
not
real
looking
people.
at the
Yeah.
biggest
None
names.
of
In
these
And
fact,
are real
Aspinall's
people.
not on good form. I mean, he struggled against Gates.
How can you have
He just
form
wasn't
in
that.
darts?
I mean, no, Max, you had to watch it. Like Aspinall
don't know
got
if I
hurt.
did. How
came
can you
back-
get hurt in
I
darts?
think his wrist.
Do you have
I
a
can't
hand
remember.
cramp? You get carpal tunnel?
Yeah,
How-
that's like actual. Like this actually happened. This
Max,
is
have you seen
freaking-
how
in the
big-
chat? Stand up. Stand up.
If
you love the darts, stand up. If you love the darts, stand up. If you love the
Right, I gotta
darts.
sit down here because I don't trust Max with the mic.
I don't either. I don't
We're doing
either.
it anyway. Yeah.
I mean,
Any
Nathan.
other upsets you can see? Any like surprise packages you think could go deep?
Paolo Nebrita. I mean,
Paolo Nebrita going deep. I mean, he can make the fourth
names.
round.
there is.
But he's not going to be MVG.
No, that is true. But I mean, if MVG gets upset by Dolan, I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, there is the Owen Evans matchup in Robert Owen and Ricky Evans. Owen's
See, here's the
favorite
thing.
darts player, Rapid Ricky Evans.
I find him just so obnoxious. He's not the one I hate the most, but I find him
Oh,
obnoxious.
we all
Oh, we all find Owen obnoxious.
He's obnoxious.
so.
Shut up.
No, the Evans is the obnoxious one, not Owen.
But you're a big fan of Pikachu, aren't you?
I cannot stand Pikachu.
What?
He is
PHX
my
darts
least
tournament?
favorite
Oh.
darts
Oh
player.
my God.
James,
Oh
you
my
want me
gosh.
running the table? I will mop the floor with everyone.
We're
Sing a
gonna
couple
do this
beers.
at some point.
Max would be like Pikachu. I truly believe it. Max.
Well, getting in the face of a 17-year-old.
What?
Like squaring
Yeah.
up to a 17-year-old
I'll
on
square up to
stage.
everyone.
And then going off on Instagram later to post
Yeah.
about it as well.
Yeah,
Like a weird
just-
guy.
Yeah,
Weird
I
guy.
can't stand them.
Best
We're
darts
all
player,
Scott
PHX,
Williams
better than Eric
fans.
Ruby. That's a fact. Yeah.
Here's the real question. Just looking at some of the... we're looking at what's going to come up on Friday. Of course, the darts on a little bit of a break here. We've got to get through this quite quickly. Let's just get some predictions quickly. Actually, for the Friday session, Friday games, afternoon session. Damon Heta against Woodhouse.
Heta, but I wouldn't be surprised if Woodhouse pulls
Max,
off the upset.
you give me no insight predictions as we go as well. Heta or Woodhouse?
This first one, sure.
Heta. Okay, Johnny Clayton or Daryl Gurney?
I like both those players, but I'm gonna go Daryl Gurney.
Okay.
Second one.
Stephen Bunting or Madaz Razma?
Oh, come on now. The people's champion,
The
Stephen
people's
Bunting.
champion.
The
The
Rock.
Bullets.
The Rock, yeah.
The Bullets.
The
wrong-
Bullet.
Wrong spot.
Come
Right,
on.
moving into the evening session. Goin Price against Joe Cullen.
Joe Cullen, did you see his press conference the other
stormed
day?
out of the press conference, yeah.
How are we getting worked up over darts?
Well, he's getting. He's
Mate, there's big
mad that
money
he's
in
not.
this.
Actually, you know
yeah,
what?
there's
Darts,
tons of money,
darts,
Max.
Great, James Madison, great footballer.
Right, moving on. Who are you taking? Be quick.
Gerwin Price.
Price.
Gerwin, sure.
He's going for Price. Watimena or Wright? See, that's a tough one.
What? These are not real.
Wright's an interesting.
No
'cause
one
he's
knows
been on
what we're
such
talking
bad
about
form this
at
year.
all.
But I'm going to Watamena.
This is
I
the
So
think
you're not going
he's-
for Snakebite. Who
yeah.
are you going for?
I don't know. This is the niche crossover between PHX Right. Best pod
Yeah,
ever.
Bullseye's
Brilliant.
loving it. Right, move on.
Bullseye's bias.
What a time.
I don't know. Second one, sure.
He's going for the Snakebite. Okay,
Yeah.
so Watimena.
Wow.
I'm just waiting for that Bella Ciao rave mix
What
to
is
just hit when
happening?
he walks
love
out.
Oh my
And then the
gosh.
final game of the day on Friday, Luke Humphreys taking on Nick Kenny. Who you
Luke
got?
Humphreys.
Humphreys.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's a whitewash.
I'm pretty sure that's an NFL player's name. I don't know. Sure, Humphreys. Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, Humphreys world champion for a reason, but
Okay. Of course, but of course, who doesn't know that?
yeah, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
You
All right.
should.
Max, take us out.
That.
I mean, come on, Max. Like, do you
I
not
also
even
just
pay,
typed
do you
in
not love
Luke
the darts?
Humphreys NFL, and immediately Google tells me Luke Humphreys is a dart player, and then highlighted not an NFL player.
Hold
so Max,
on.
you are
Hold
wrong.
on.
I feel like
you spell no. You got to spell it with a Y.
That looks
Nope,
like
still
the
no.
No,
darts
it's still
player.
nothing. Right, Max, take us out, mate.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. appreciate everyone joining us here on the PHNX
And Cody's
Darts.
correct. Spurs are terrible.
You
so.
know,
Well,
I will
crap.
say that was actually the one plus side of all this darts talk. Yeah, we didn't have time to talk about the weekend. No one cares. Yeah. Appreciate everyone joining us here on the PHNX Darts podcast. You can follow us at PHNX__Rising _.
Double the darts.
Double the darts.
Double the darts. You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJ Evans 18. You can follow Rees on Twitter at Rees 11 _. You can follow our normal producer Kyle at KCoop Sports. You can follow producer Noah at Noah.
You don't know the answer.
No, I'm gonna let him say it himself. Noah, hey,
'Cause
what's
you don't
your?
know the
Yes, of
answer.
course I do. I'm not gonna be dignified with the response. Hold on a second. Andrew Ding with a $2 super chat. Late but happy holidays, Andrew.
You too.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the heck out of you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Noah, where can people find you? Yeah.
I don't know. Somewhere.
What do you mean you don't know?
Somewhere.
On the
Great.
street.
That's fine. That does the
You
job.
can follow him somewhere. Also, make sure check out PHNX Suns doing a pregame 7:30 right here on all of the platforms. Make sure to join in and give Eric and Gerald a especially hard time. Those guys are something. But appreciate everyone. It's a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful when you stand up.
If
You love the darts, stand up. If you
get
love
up,
the
Max.
darts,
Come on, Max,
stand
get
up.
it.
If you love the darts, good night, happy
stand up. Good
holidays,
night.
everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.